Hello, everyone, and welcome to Entertainment and Star Wars. My name is Rob. How you doing? I'm here. You're there, and with me, I'm honored, truly honored, to have the great Stevie J. Raw. How you doing, Stevie? How's everything?
I'm doing well, mate. Doing well, and yeah, I'm just super happy to be here. Happy to catch up with you. I think we've sort of interacted a few times over the last year or so on YouTube. But yeah, happy to be here, mate. And yeah, really looking forward to having a chat and a catch up and see who comes over in the chat as well. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, so far we have Macy R. We have, I hope I'm saying his name right, Gallet Wiseman and Linda Potter Stock. Hello, all. Well, happy Friday. But he's like, thank God it's Friday. I hear, I hear that, man. So, at first, I'm just going to talk a little about me, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. First I was doing big Star Wars stuff. I love Star Wars, but then I saw the interest was kind of going down. People weren't really caring too much, and then I saw about Johnny, and I saw everybody talking about Johnny Depp on Johnny. I'm like, "Ugh, okay, what could this be? What tab? Like you said, we've discussed more tabloid stuff, And I know Johnny Depp. I mean, I saw him way long ago in 21 Jump Street when he first. I think that's when he first started. And he was a party kind of guy, a wild kind of
Yeah,
guy. He got into drugs and alcohol. He dated Winona Ryder. He had his ups and downs in life. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing like all these things, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with Johnny Depp? This sounded absolutely insane to me, insane. And I was like, you know what? So I started watching people's videos. I started reading. And I wanted to get into it because I could see I had an interest, and it was like, did he really do this? Is this what really happened? Did he really hurt her?
yeah,
Johnny Depp? Why? Like, it blew my mind, and I had to really find out all about it. So I started digging deep into it, and I work in a courthouse. I don't know if you know that, but I work in a courthouse, so I
no, I
deal
didn't
with
know.
yeah, so we deal with tons of cases, and I've seen things that will make your head spin. Like, I could tell you stories, you'll be like, people really do this? It's incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like I sit there like, how could a human being do this to someone else? And some things are
yeah,
very sad, some things are very crazy, some things are like you could write a movie about. It's
yeah.
unbelievable. So
Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine the things you must see in an actual courthouse, like all of this sort of stuff that we're talking about, just tenfold probably.
yeah, it's just wild. So before we get into it, that's what got me kind of involved into it. How about you? What got you into covering Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
Yeah, thanks, mate. So, similar to you, I probably, I used to do movie reviews. That was what I started the channel as, and that's what I was covering mostly. But there's not a lot of interest in that, to be honest. And I felt like I had a bit more to say as well about various topics, whether it be, the Johnny Depp stuff or it be, other topics that are going on. I felt like I had a bit more to say, a bit more to offer. So that was one reason, I guess. And I'd also been checking out a few videos of Entertainment Hacker and his coverage of it, and Incredibly Average and those guys. And I hadn't really I'd seen it there, I'd seen this topic there, but I hadn't really delved into it yet because I sort of, the same as you, I thought a little bit, maybe it's just a tabloid type thing and it's another just celebrity piece of trash story that's out there. But then when I started looking into it a lot more and started to actually, see a lot of the evidence and that kind of thing, it really piqued my interest. And one reason, I suppose, another reason for me actually deciding to dive in and actually start doing some videos on it, is because the same things that have happened to Johnny, very similar things that have happened to Johnny, I've known people that's happened to as well. So like friends of mine have had domestic violence claims put against them wrongly, completely falsely, and so they've lost access to their kids and all kinds of horrible stuff like that. So and restraining orders and the whole deal. So that was an added motivation for me because I feel like from that standpoint, I've got a little bit more to say about where it comes to male victims of domestic violence or even just being wrongfully accused. I think it's such an important topic to talk about because the pendulum swung so far just so far to, you know, hashtag Me Too, believe all women and all that kind of stuff, that, you know, there's the male victims and, you know, falsely accused men have been lost and forgotten in that whole swinging of the pendulum. So I guess that's why I sort of got into doing this topic, and why I'm sort of covering other topics as well.
Interesting. So speaking of which, when you first got into it, what stood out of this case? What was the first thing you said, whoa, this like blew your mind to hear? Was it what she said? Was it what he said? What was it? What would it have been?
That's a really good question. I think for me, it was what she said. So I think the very first thing that I really sort of,
Uh-oh. 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 Hope I'm not losing it, man.
About
Hold on a second. Check my settings. Just checking my internet. Hold on a second. So some people said there was you froze for a second. You lagged a little bit there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, mate.
Okay.
No problem hearing you.
Okay. I just checked my internet. Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
So I was just saying it's an interesting question, and the first thing for me that was like a bit of a wow kind of moment was when I heard the deposition. So I heard Amber Heard's audio of the deposition, and pretty much straight after that I heard the audio of the therapy sessions, and I was like, wow, this has got way more to it than what I saw on the headlines. And interestingly enough, the headlines are, you know, generally quite Johnny was talking to her and the way she was talking to him. It just kind of made me go, right, there's more to this, and I need to look into this a little bit further. So that was probably the first moment, hearing that audio and of the depositions and the therapy sessions, where I was like, yeah, okay, there's more in this and I need to check it out.
Yeah, for me, I think the first thing I noticed, which blew my mind, was when I heard he severed his finger, and I'm like, oh my God, he severed his finger. And then I quickly just saw some pictures about it, and I was like, what in the hell? How did this happen? You know? And he tried to, and what I found crazy was how he tried to cover it up, how he tried to say he slammed it. It was his fault. You know, she had nothing to me, that proved alone. It proved how much he loved this woman. You know, people say, oh, he simps to her. Oh, it's not that. People don't get, when you truly love someone, sometimes love is absolutely blind. Okay. You may not realize what someone's doing. You don't want to lose them. You care about them. You love them. You'll do anything for them. To me, that's who he was. He was totally in this because he loved her. She was totally in this. She was totally in this because of whatever selfish reasons that could benefit herself. And I don't know if you agree with me.
No, I do, mate. I do. She was in it for, you know, I'd say probably two main things. One is the fame, because obviously Johnny Depp is 10,000 times the star that she is, and, you know, 10,000 times as talented too. But so the fame is one, and then probably the cash, the money as well, because obviously at the time, at least when they got together, before, you know, she was hanging around, he had a lot of it. He had a lot of cash. So I think those are probably two of the main reasons why she actually got into the relationship with him.
Now here's my oh God, I hope you can hear me. I'm having some internet problems here. Crap. Hold on. I'm gonna try to fix it again.
That's all right. Don't stress. I had some internet problems this morning as well.
Okay. See, I mean, okay. It seems to. I got it now. So here's a question I could never figure out. He settled with her. She claimed it wasn't about money. I looked into that. I didn't do a video on it, but she really did give the money to charity. A lot of people say it's all about the money. It's all about the money. So I mean, before this countersuit, before she did the countersuit, it was all about him suing her. So I was wondering, like, okay, if she just settled for the money and then gave it away to prove it wasn't about the money, how is it still about the money? That's the one thing I
Well,
don't, you know.
yeah, well, it's a great question, mate. It's a great question. And look, at the end of the day, there's still so much that we don't actually know. Like, there's so much that hasn't been really, we haven't seen the facts on. So I think with that, she, if she didn't have the public pressure to give the money to charity, I don't know part of it, but I think that what's interesting is that with this whole charity thing, and we've just seen, I haven't read through it all yet, which I'll be doing over this weekend, but the 253 pages that we've just seen submitted again. So another whole lot of pages of garbage submitted to the court. Concerned with the charity payments, when they're trying to say that's not a part of it, you're not allowed to subpoena the documents about the charity payments. That just says to me, red flag straight away. Maybe she didn't pay. Maybe she didn't pay the money to the charity, or maybe she gave it to a different charity, or who knows. But it does raise a red flag for me, and I think that the reason why she probably gave that money, or at least so far as we know, gave the money to charity, was just because of public pressure, and for no other reason. I don't think that was her original intent. So it'll be very interesting, and I'm going to read through these other documents over the weekend. But it's interesting to me that they've specifically requested that the court don't subpoena the documents relating to the charitable payments. I think that's very interesting.
Now, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, I've heard that they're going to use whatever they used for the libel case in the UK for the Virginia case. Now, I mean, but now she's countersued, so I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. If you're countersuing, you're going to have to bring more into this, because now you got her countersuit and you got his 50 million case. I would think that they're going to have to bring more to the table. I would think that Johnny really has to bring everything that's out there. I mean, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. And I think he will. One of the ones I was reading through the other day, one of the court documents was talking about, and it was from Amber Heard's team, and they were requesting 50 to 51 videos that apparently Johnny Depp has, or recordings that Johnny Depp has, but hasn't provided to Amber's legal team yet. So if there is those 50 to 51 tapes or audio recordings, then that's definitely a whole lot more that is going to be added to this case. And the UK stuff is interesting. Now, the counterclaim from Amber Heard, I think, is simply a red herring. It's just to divert attention away from her being the defendant in this case and try and flip it around again, so that she's actually saying "poor me" again. I think the judge is actually just going to throw it out. I think he's just going to dismiss it. I honestly do. I think we've seen today. I think it was today I saw. The judge has granted his continuance to film Fantastic Beasts. So the judge isn't listening to what they're saying. He's not listening to the pages and pages of trash. And he's basically said, well, Johnny does have grounds for continuance, so I will grant it, because there's no reason for me to not grant it. And everything that was presented in the 93 pages, or the 58 pages, whatever it was, is just not relevant. It doesn't make any sense. So hopefully we'll see the same thing happen with this and with the counterclaim as well.
Yeah, that's all. I'm just going to get to some of the comments real quick, because there's a couple of good ones in here, besides everybody saying hi to me. And
go for it, mate.
Just Eric Garcia stopped by and says, hey, Rob, what's going on? Macy R says, my first reaction was when I heard they were getting divorced. My thought, I knew that B, I don't know what that is. I thought B was up to no good. I think she meant Amber was up to no good. I didn't pay no mind after that until I heard he was suing the son over her stupid ass. It's good to,
Yeah.
I like to read what everybody's thinking. I can't just say this. Sky. Oh boy, how do I say this? Oh boy, Skridini. I guess I don't know. Sorry if I butchered your name. She was trying to renegotiate the divorce settlement too, even though there's an agreement not to. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. And you know what's really awesome is, like people like Macy and others in the chat. I find in my videos and in my streams and everything, there's a lot of knowledgeable people out there. So you get to learn little bits and pieces here and there that you didn't know before. Because I mean, this thing is huge. It's a huge case, and just trying to read through the court documents, takes you forever. So you don't see everything, you don't catch everything. So when there's people, like these guys in the chat, it's awesome. Give us a little bit extra info.
I agree. Oh, Annie Cook says, yeah, definitely was the fame and the money.
Yeah, got to get that cash.
And I'm just going to say Scry because I'm sure I'm going to butcher her name again. She says JD made a first payment directly to them of $150K each, and she got pissed and tried to sue him for $7 million more. Well, that's interesting. For non-compliance. Oh, wow.
Of course she did.
I did not know that. That's really, really interesting. The other thing I noticed throughout this, he's tried so many times to be reasonable to her. He's tried so many times to his demeanor has been incredible. I mean, if you listen to the recordings of himself, if you see how he's complied, he's tried to be as peaceful and as set. He tried to settle it. He's like, let's just do this privately. But man, all it's about is, what about my reputation? What about it's always, Johnny, I have to answer because it's your team. He's like, no, you don't have to answer. We could just end this. We'll just tell everybody, look, we decided to do this privately.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand for the life of me, no matter that, I'd rather, and I work for a court, okay? I'd rather avoid court I'd rather settle out of court, try to work this out civilly, and no matter what it is, than to go through this. And not only this, but all this is now going to come out. It's in the public eye. Johnny's team is releasing whatever to hurt her. He said they're both going to get hurt here. Why would you want to go through this? Why? What can you gain from this?
I honestly, I do not know. And I think that's where, a lot of people calling her a narcissist, and even, people with expertise in mental health are calling her a narcissist. And I think that's absolutely correct, because what other reason? And you're right when you say, what reason would you do this? I certainly wouldn't. I would not want to have any of this coming out at all. I wouldn't want to go through court or any of that stuff. So it's really interesting that she's doing this. I just find it so ridiculous. She wants to be right. And, we heard in the audio call, and you're right, Johnny's been looking after her the whole time. He's been trying to help her the whole time. He's been, in the audio phone call, he says to her, come on, don't do this. Don't do this. We can do it. We can do it privately. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt me. He tells her he loves her over and over again, and doesn't want anything to go wrong. Doesn't want her to be hurt. And then it devolves into, and throughout that call, she's saying to him all the time, you can't do this, my reputation, and you've done this and you do that, and you put this out in the public, when it's just blatant lies. And then, she's even talking about all the abuse stuff. And he finally, he was so nice to her the whole call, and then finally turns around to her and says, did you abuse me? Were you abusive to me? And she gives that nonsensical non-answer, talking about how she's 115 pounds and some rubbish about how she could never assault him. Well, that's just a load of BS. And in that call, it was just so clear to me that she's doing this just to be right. And I feel like, I don't think she's actually that smart either. So she's gone out, years ago when she first did the op-ed, she went public, all that kind of stuff. And she just thought at the time, with the hashtag Me Too and Believe All Women, she just thought, you know what? I'm just gonna say all this stuff, and at the moment, everyone's gonna just believe me. I don't have to really have that much evidence. I don't really have to be telling the truth. All I have to do is say that this happened. And she could have actually gotten away with that if she decided to settle behind closed doors with Johnny and keep it all private. But she didn't. She didn't do that. She just was so adamant that she had to tell everyone publicly that she was right and that she was virtuous and she would never do any of this stuff and she was a victim. So she was so adamant that she had to do that she's now gone and put herself through all of this stuff. And I think another point to that as well is, and sorry, I'll stop talking in a second, but another point as well
please,
is
please.
The UK trial. She didn't have to attend. She didn't have to be there. She could have done it over the internet, over like we're doing right now. But she put a I can't think what the name of it is right now, but whatever it is, she put the petition to the court or whatever to say, I want to attend. Can I please attend? And she did that daily, and the judge had to approve her to attend. So it's not like, this poor me, I've been dragged here to testify. She forced herself to be there at court because I believe she wanted to see what she could manipulate, stand at the front and have that ridiculous speech to all of those people who, were actually Johnny Depp's fans, which is funny, but, do that ridiculous speech about, oh, it's my truth and everyone's got to believe my truth because it's what I'm saying. And because I say it, that makes it the truth, which was just cringeworthy and ridiculous. But she's put herself through all of this. And I think it's purely just to try and be right or to be seen as right.
To me, that's truly sad that you got to prove to yourself that you got to be right. And it's so important to you that you're willing to not only destroy somebody you quote unquote loved, but you're willing to almost destroy yourself. And I want to get into that to a minute, but somebody has dropped me a super chat. I just noticed, and that's Macy R. I'm going to put it up here. Thank you, Macy. That's very nice of you. And she says, Johnny, you didn't even have to do it, but I'm very, very grateful for that. I appreciate it. Johnny sent out a thank you to his fans today on Instagram. I heard this. I just got home. People were writing to me about that. I didn't get to see it. They saw it through Nadette's channel. That's right. Okay. That's right. She has a channel too. I forgot about that. Someone commented, Amber sue him for that post. Are you kidding me? What? That's so stupid. Why would someone comment that? I don't get that. Why would someone sue him for that post? Listen, he could post whatever he wants until there's a court order stating otherwise, that they can't post something. There's no reason that he can't post something unless they say, hey, it's illegal. We don't want this information going out. The judge would have to do that. So until there's an order stating otherwise, him and her can do what they want at this point. I mean, and it's a game. To me, it's a game because he's going to make sure that everybody knows he's innocent. And she's going to try to put stuff out there on too, whether we like it or not, to show that she's the one who's innocent. And right now, to me at this point, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, it looks like she's totally to blame for everything. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Look, let me ask you this. I'm going to leave Macy's up there. I really appreciate Macy. Macy's been great since I've done this. I really appreciate her. She's been a fantastic person.
Macy is awesome. Absolutely.
And by the way, I said her name before. It was Cindy, so I apologize to Cindy. I'm sorry about that. So here's my question. You know about the whole Elon Musk thing and James Franco, right? Have you covered that? Have you looked into it?
I haven't covered it in terms of the affairs. I've covered Elon Musk and his connections to the Sun and the Murdochs, but I haven't covered the actual affairs themselves. No.
Okay. Well, all right. So I mean, you know what happened. You have an idea, correct?
Yeah.
So what I found amazing, because I did a couple of videos on this. What I found amazing is that she got married to Depp. And he had to go film. So he was on location. She gave Musk a key fob, which allows you into the building. She told the concierge, listen, he can come up. It's no problem. He came at 11 p.m. at night when Johnny wasn't there. 1 month 1 month into their marriage. Someone who you love, you don't do this kind of thing. And he was
No.
there quite often. And not only he had access to the private elevator to the penthouse. There was video images of him and her. She's hugging him. They're on the elevator. And I'm sitting here like, are you kidding me? You're 1 month into a marriage which she told Johnny she wanted to have and she wanted to work on it. How do you tell somebody who's working on location and you look them in the face and you say, I love you? How do you do that? That to me is the most hurtful thing of this entire relationship. And like you said earlier, how he said at the final phone call he made with her before they went to court, he said, Amber, I love you. And I felt that, man. I heard that over and over again because I couldn't believe how powerful that was, at least to me on my end. That was very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, I agree that audio, you could just tell he was almost desperate. He was almost desperate to be helping her. He was almost desperate to just, be amicable and leave everything sorted out behind closed doors. So, I agree 100% that the whole Elon Musk thing, it really does just paint this whole picture of her. And, people can come out and say, oh, well, Johnny does drugs and he's an alcoholic and all these kind of things. But just because you're those things doesn't mean that you are something else as well. The two don't correlate. And we've seen in all of the evidence, and I keep going back to the evidence because that's really what we need to look at here. The evidence, so the audio recordings, video, photos, all of the conversation, all of these things that we go back to. And Johnny is always consistent. He's always consistent with what he says now. And he never says, I'm a completely virtuous person who never does anything wrong. He says, yep, I've got problems with this. I've got problems with that. He openly admits to spending, 30 grand on wine in a night, which is obviously going to be one big party. But he never changes his story. He never is inconsistent when it comes to talking about this stuff with AH. Never inconsistent about that. He's always very clear, always very, consistent, knows what he's talking about, and is concise and to the point. So, when it comes to this Musk stuff, I think it's absolutely devastating. And at the end of that audio call where he says, I loved you and I thought, you were this, but you were obviously just a part of my imagination. I imagined you instead of, you being real. And it's so hurtful. Like so long after they were into their relationship and, now where we are now, seeing where we are now, that she was already cheating on him so early on. It's just so ridiculous to me that anyone can look at the evidence, objectively, look at the evidence and go, do you know what? I still believe her. I mean, she's changed her story so many times. And it's what's really interesting too is in the UK trial, she all of a sudden just out of nowhere brought up Kate Moss with the Steps incident. She brought up Kate Moss out of nowhere. If that was such a relevant thing in your mind when you were on that staircase with Johnny and Whitney, wouldn't you have brought that up in your very first deposition? Wouldn't you have brought that up in your very first interview and been talking about it all the while? But no, she waited until the UK case when she was on the stand to say, the reason that I was like that was because I remembered Kate Moss. Kate Moss got nearly pushed down the stairs. And so I had to step in and protect my sister, which is ridiculous in itself because Jennifer Howell has now come out and said the exact opposite, that Whitney told her she was afraid Amber was going to push Johnny down the stairs and commit acts of violence against him. So it's just, she is so full of it. And if we can't, if people can't see that by now, then I would say go and take another look at all the evidence.
I agree with you. I agree. What amazes me sometimes is that no matter what he does, she's fighting every step of the way. Every step of the way. Like, okay, you talked, I think we talked about this, but we were off live. We talked about it right before we came on. He asked, and I think this is so silly, and I'm sure you agree with it because I saw you on your live stream. He asked for an adjournment simply because he's filming. He has a contractual obligation. And because of the pandemic and what has happened, we all know, unless you're living under a rock, TV shows, movies, everything has been postponed. You can't even go to a movie theater right now. So everything got postponed. And all he said is, look, they are asking me to film between the time. So the window for the court date, I could get in serious trouble. Now, I think that's a very reasonable, it's not an excuse. He's not trying to avoid court. He's just saying, look, I just need a different time frame. Can we do this between March and June? And what does she do? She gets his legal team, says the court, which is, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say this word, saying the court is subservient to him. You know, that, and that he knew about this earlier. And listen, I work in the courthouse, okay? And if I had the robe, which I don't wear the robe, I'm not a judge, but when I work with a judge, if me and the judge, if these papers came across my desk, I would have said, Your Honor, look, this is absolutely ridiculous. What the guy is asking for is, we get adjournments all the time. It always happens. Hey, I have a vacation. Hey, my client is sick. Hey, we get tons of stuff. And the judge always tries to work it out with both sides, even if they can't agree.
Yeah.
And I've seen cases where they're just at each other's throats like this, but the judge will intervene and say, look, give me your dates, and I'm going to pick a date, and that's it. That's when we're going to come. Okay. So now Amber's saying, well, I got to film too. I have Aquaman 2 in February, unfortunately, because that petition, I was really hoping everybody would sign that petition. So now, listen, I'm going to be fair. I understand she's right. She has to film in February. Okay, so when aren't you filming? You're not going to film for the entire year. He's not going to film for the entire year. So there's got to be a point that there's a window that we will work for not only the court, because the court is open all year long. There's got to be a window that could work for all three parties. But she's just making everything like he's subservient. He didn't tell the court in time. He knew about this ahead of time. He's like, I didn't know this ahead of time. How can I know this? I didn't find out till August. We were in September.
It's completely ridiculous, mate. And that wording you talked about, that was one of the things that I talked about most in my stream and videos and stuff. Calling him subservient. Saying that he was making the court subservient to him. I mean, way to insult the judge at the same time. So insult the court, insult the judge, insult everybody along the way. And at the end of the day, his claim is nothing ridiculous. His motion is nothing ridiculous. I mean, it's not like he said, Your Honor, I would really like to have a 5-month continuous because I'm going for a new hairstyle. I'm going to the hairstylist, and I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. Not too keen on getting into the public with my new hairstyle. It's not like that's what he's doing. He's saying, I have a contract. I have to work. I didn't get the dates until like last week. Now that I know the dates, I'd love a continuance, please. And they were so hypocritical. Amber's lawyers were so hypocritical in that document because on one hand, they're saying, do not grant this continuance because Johnny is very bad. Do not grant this continuance. And also, Your Honor, when we get the Aquaman 2 filming dates, we also might want a continuance. So it's a slippery slope. But it's like, hang on. Does that help us, guys? Oh, actually, hang on. Wait, should we put that in? I'm not sure if we should put that in because, does that help us? Oh, no, I don't know now. Actually, I forgot what I'm saying, Judge. Just forget Johnny's continuance. Don't let him do that. But if we want one, make sure you grant that, please. Please, make sure you grant that. I mean, how ridiculous can you be in one document? And then not to mention the orchestrated terrorist campaign against her. I mean, if the judge doesn't have a little chuckle at that, he's probably not human.
I'm just going to catch up to it because there's so many chats, and when I do a stream, I love to let everybody's important. If they're not here, then I mean, not that you're not important, because I'm really happy you made time for me to come here, but I just want to get their feelings too on everything. So if you're okay with that, Steve.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Go for it. Go for it.
So Alex Sylvia, I thought we're behind, says she was confident that Johnny Depp wasn't going to challenge her publicly, and it backfired on her badly. And I agree with that. I think that she was so confident. I think she thought in her mind that she could bully him, that she could scare him. Because in that last, and I'm going to ask you this, because I remember that audio recording. She said, like, when he's like, Amber, do you really want to go to court? Do you really want to do this? And she's like, but Johnny, you don't understand. I have so much evidence. I have all these people. I have all these recordings. I have all this stuff. And I'm like, really? Look what the guy just asked you. Let's do this privately. He had the whole thing planned out. I thought it was brilliant. I was like, yeah, he would have went to the media and just said, listen, we're going to work this out. Everything's okay. You know, we just going to go our separate ways. I thought it was brilliant what he said. And what is the first thing she said? I have to answer. What do you mean you have to answer? Yeah. I think she thought that she could bully him so much and scare him so much that he wasn't going to come out with all this stuff. What's your opinion?
Yeah, mate, I agree. She thought in the beginning of that phone call, she thought that it was going to go her way and she was going to get Johnny. She was going to convince Johnny to just not file anything and let it go all in her favor and not defend himself. That's what she thought she was going to be able to do. She was going to be able to manipulate him to do that. But what she didn't expect, and you could see her tone changed throughout that phone call. So she started off all, trying to do this and sounding kind of meek and quiet and, upset and stuff like that. And then, talking about it. And then as she starts to realize that Johnny's not just going to capitulate, he's not just going to give in, and he's not going to give her what she wants, then you see her demeanor change and she starts to escalate into the real Amber turd that we know. And she starts, saying, oh, well, I've got text messages, I've got evidence, I've got video recording. It's all corroborated by date timestamps and all of this. And he's like, well, all I said was we could write a letter to the public and say, we're sorting it out behind closed doors. And she's like, well, you might have a letter, but I've got photos and I've got video and I've got this and that. And it's like, well, you know what? This is when he said, I'm done. I can't help you. But yeah, I agree.
I think another thing was, like you said before, when he was like, he said, well, she's like, well, you're going to get hurt. He's like, no, we're both going to get hurt. And he's right. Because what is she, by arguing, what's going to happen? She's going to expose him and he's going to expose her. And he really didn't want to do it. I mean, he, like you said, he was so infatuated. I think that's a good word. He was so infatuated with her. And like you said in the recording, man, I swear to you, when I delayed making the video because I really felt horribly inside when I heard the words, Amber, I love you. And he didn't realize that the phone call dropped. I mean, so he was really pouring. Right. He poured his heart out, and she was like nothing. And when he got back and he did it for a second time with her on the line, nothing. There was nothing. It was like stone cold. I don't care. It'll mean nothing. It means nothing. I was never in love with you. Like throughout, I hear him saying, I loved you. I loved you. I loved you. And I think I heard it from her once or twice. And she says, but it had no meaning behind it because all it had after that was, Johnny, you're a baby. Oh, I didn't deck you. I didn't deck you. What? He's like, why, you wanted to deck me? Was that your goal, to deck me?
Yeah, and all the Fight Club rubbish, and she's talking about, like, she says, I hit you, but I didn't effing deck you. It's like, well, it's the same thing. I don't know if you know what hitting and decking someone is. It's basically the same thing, and you've admitted to hitting him. So don't even try and justify that one. But yeah, I agree. Like, he's pouring his heart out on this phone call, and she is like a statue. She's nothing. All she cared about on that call was getting what she wanted. That was all that she cared about, and I think that's all she's cared about all along. To be honest, I mean, we saw it in the TMZ recording as well. It's in the counseling audio. It's in every piece of evidence that we've got. She cares about her, and he cares about both of them. Now, it doesn't mean to say, and in all fairness, it doesn't mean to say that across their entire relationship that he never, yelled at her or said something that was really harsh or, was a complete nice guy the whole time. That's not to say that. But that's just a human thing too, because people in relationships argue. they have fights, they have arguments. It's just life. That's what happens. But what they don't do is then turn around and put bruises on their face and say that they were hit and all that kind of stuff. That's not what normal people do. And we saw in that TMZ video, which I had another point on that, which I want to talk to you about, is that with that TMZ video, first of all, we know that there was more to it. It was originally edited and all that stuff. But he's slamming cupboard doors. He's angry and he's hitting inanimate objects, which when I think about me, if I'm in a bad mood and things happen, I think he even stubbed his toe or jammed his finger or something in that video in the kitchen. I'm going to be slamming a few things and kicking a few things. It doesn't mean that I'm going to go next door and find someone to beat up, or walking through my house trying to find someone to beat up. That's just not how it works. People are allowed to be angry and upset and slamming a few cupboard doors, and without that equating to the violence that she said was there. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm sorry I'm going off on a little bit of a rant, and I'll let you get back
please,
to the chat.
go ahead. Please.
I'll let you get back to the chat too. But with that TMZ video, it was released in, I think it was 2016 it came out. TMZ released that video, which was edited, we know. But if she was a real honest person, and if she's saying, oh, Johnny released that, that was all him. But if she was actually a truly honest person, she would have come out sometime between when it was released and now and said, do you know what, guys, in the interest of transparency, that's not the full video. I have the full video. Here it is. You can view it for yourself, make up your own mind. But she didn't. She was quite happy for the edited version to remain out there and not say anything about it until it finally got revealed, only recently. And so the fact that she never said anything about that just says to me that whether she willingly did it, which I think she probably did, have a hand in the editing of it, but she knew in herself, she was the one who took the recording. So she knew all of that time. She could have come out and said, do you know what? Yes, Johnny did these things, if she wanted to say that. Johnny did these things, but this particular video, that's not the whole thing. Here it is. Here's the whole thing.
It's funny because I was next week, actually, I was going to do a video on her stuff because I showed his stuff and I haven't showed her stuff. And I want to be fair, because when I said this, and some people are not going to like that, but it's not I'm favoring her. I want everybody to understand that. It's just that when you're in a court, you have to hear, the judge said to me, he said, look, there's two sides to every story. There's his side, there's her side, and there's the truth. Okay. In between, there is the truth. He said, but you cannot say, even if I'm strongly for one side, I can't let them know that. I have to show that, okay, here's your evidence. Okay, here's what you're saying. Here's your answer. I have to hear it all, whether I like it or not, whether I agree or disagree. And that's what I'm trying to do on my channel. I'm trying to say, okay, yes, I'm all for Johnny. All for justice for Depp. I'm all behind it right now because everything I've shown, even with some of her stuff, it still points to him. It's still, to me, is undeniably she's the abuser in this case. I mean, I no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt. So, and when I saw some of that footage, because I didn't finish the video, but yeah, you're right. It is edited. It's definitely her. What she tried to do, and I'm kind of giving away my video, but I think what she tried to do, is simple. She said, okay, look, I got to get something against him, right? Because I'm on recordings. I've admitted I threw pots and pans at him. I've admitted I've hit him. So now, and I loved, did you hear the one in the bathroom? I don't know. Did you hear that recording when he was in the bathroom? What happened? I don't know if you heard that one.
I didn't hear that one, no.
Okay, I did a video on it, but I'm just going to tell you, I'll make it real quick. He's in the bathroom because he's trying to avoid her. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to hit her, and he doesn't want her to hit him. So he goes into the bathroom, and she is trying to force the door open, and he keeps closing it. 3 times, he said. He said 3 times he closed the door. 3 times she kept opening the door. Finally, he's like, listen, I don't want to fight here. I'm trying to avoid the fighting.
Yes.
So when he tries to close the door, he hits her toes, right? Now he feels bad. He's like, oh, shoot. So he bends down to go to check her toes out, and she kicks the door into his head. Then he's holding his head like, what in the hell? What is this about? And then she clocks him. She punches him. So he later on goes to question that. And she keeps saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. He said, okay, let's figure out what you didn't mean. You didn't mean to hit me with the door. She said, yeah, I just reacted. Okay, so okay. He said, I hit your toes. I'm totally sorry. That was totally accidental. I was just didn't want to fight. I didn't want it to get violent, so I was trying to close the door. I'm sorry. That wasn't, but you're saying it was instinct. So which one was the instinct? Which one was the reaction? Was it you kicking the door and hitting my head, or you punching me in the face? To which she was like, had no answer.
Yeah.
And that told me, you are so busted. You
Yeah.
are
Oh,
so busted. Because
absolutely.
how do you explain punching someone in the face?
Yeah. Well, she can't, can she? She can't explain it at all. She can't explain any of it. She can't explain, why she about throwing the bottle of stuff at him. The vodka bottle or whatever it was. She can't explain the door thing that you just talked about. She can't explain anything. And when she's asked about it, she never gives a direct answer either. Just like what you're talking about with the audio there, she never gives a direct answer. It's always diverting, always talking back to Johnny. So the incident with the stairs, and I'm sure that the door is the same. It's Johnny's fault because Johnny did X. That made me do Y. I don't have any personal responsibility because he did this. That means that I then had to do this. So it's like Johnny went to sleep on my birthday, or went to bed on my birthday dinner because he was upset about something. He went to bed and started reading. So therefore, because he did that, I'm now justified at punching him in the face again and throwing haymakers at him because he went to bed and went to read a book on my birthday, which, I think we'd all agree is, basically a heinous crime, probably punishable with corporal punishment, with the death penalty. Going to bed and reading, it's really, really bad. It's a bad thing to do. But she just feels like that's justified. He did this, so that means that I can escalate it and do this. He can sue me for $50 million, and now I can sue him for $100 million. It's just her whole ethos. But yeah, I feel like I've ranted a lot, mate. But if you want to get back to the chat, by all means.
Yeah, well, I'm way behind, but this was a great one, and you made a great point too. It's always about firing back, and like you said, it was him. He did it, so I react. It's like there's something psychologically wrong with a person like that. I'm sorry, there's something psychologically up here mentally that's not clicking on all cylinders. But I just want to get to some of the. I really fell behind here. Linda Potter Scott had a great comment. She said she also started with Johnny. Stop trying to defend yourself, and then she ends up screaming, "I'm just trying to defend myself." And I think that's great because that sums up the kind of person that she is.
Absolutely. Great comment.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was a great comment. My friend Trapper Mike, who's a gamer with me, he says, I'll go with Johnny. I heard the whole story now. No, you haven't heard the whole story. No, you haven't. Let's see. I just oh my God, I'm gonna go all the way back because I missed a lot.
That's all right. Take your time. Go for it. Because like you said, mate, I agree. It's very important to go back and interact with everyone who's on the stream. So
Macy, well, I think everybody's important, and that's how I always treat everybody who comes here. Macy says she's a piece of work, Picasso style. Cindy says, "Ooh, I pray to hear a guilty verdict for the son and a smackdown on her in the British accent." Let me see what else I got. Okay, Linda said again. She said, "As Johnny said, she will always have to have the last word." It's another great point, and I think you've said this too on your stream. I also, because I watch his stream a bit whenever I can. I think you and Linda are right. She always has to have the last word. So why do you think that, in your opinion, Stevie, why do you think she's always got to have the last word?
Well, I think it goes back to the very beginning where, she first thought she was going to say these statements. She was going to say this spew out this garbage, and everyone was just going to believe her, no questions asked. And I think it goes back to that. So, she in her mind needs to be believed. She needs to be the one who is right. She needs to be the victim, because I also think, as a side thing to that, I think that's the main thing. But as a side thing to that, I think she knows somewhere deep down in that soulless chasm of an insides that she has, in that vacuum she calls a soul. She knows that she's not in a good position here, and she knows that as far as the court of public opinion goes, she's in a very, very bad position. So her popularity after this whole thing's over is going to be completely shot, unless she gets some kind of vindication from the court system to say, we know the media is going to give her the kind of attention she wants, the positive attention, but the court of public opinion, she wants them to be swayed. She wants us to be swayed by the court decision. So I think that's a big part of it. She needs to be right so that she can launch herself after this onto saying, oh, well, I was right in court. I was proved right. So, I'm virtuous and I should be able to carry on with my career. But in reality, we all know what's going on. And so, I think she actually knows deep down, in her chasm of a soul, that she's in trouble. She's in trouble here.
Yeah, it's true. It's a great point. Annie Cook says, so glad he's going to be filming the Fantastic Beast movie. Johnny's voice in the recordings, he always kept his voice calm. Absolutely. And, if you're scared of somebody, and I think there's been said, some people have said this on other channels, in the comments I've read this, I think it's an excellent point. If you're scared of somebody, odds are you're going to avoid that person. You're going to stay away from that person. You're going to try, and like when I was in school, okay, I knew that these 2-3 guys were going to bully me. So I was like, when I saw them, I'm not going down that way. I'm going to try to find another way to get to where I got to go so they don't bully me. They don't bother me, because there's 4 of them, there's 1 of me. Now, in this case, if you're being bullied, you would do what Johnny did. You'd say, listen, I'm not going to, you just punch me, I'm leaving. You're screaming at me, I'm leaving. You're recording this, I'm leaving. I'm not going to deal with this immaturity. And he was very calm, and he tried to be rational and logical. And it's hard to be that way when you can't deal with the other person who is totally insane. When you're dealing with someone like that,
And those sorts of things enraged her further. It enraged her even more. Now, it's such a great point you bring up, because there's been a lot of people, I don't know about in yours, but in my comments, in the chats and streams and things like that, that have, that are actual real victims. And they've commented on exactly that, saying that
you're right.
She does not behave the way that a real victim would behave. For example, antagonizing Johnny. If he is this huge, big, scary monster, and he is so violent towards her, then why is she antagonizing him all the time? And that's just not in line with what real victims would do and how they would behave. Because the majority of people, at least that have commented on my videos, have said, as a victim of domestic violence, I would try to make myself as small as possible, shrink into the background, and not be heard, not be seen, not try to upset the abuser at all. So for her to be calling him a baby, for her to be antagonizing him, to be doing all of these things, setting up recordings and laughing at him, smirking at him, all of those things, that is not what someone would do if they are truly fearful of retribution. So, I agree, mate. I agree. Absolutely, and 100% nonsense is what she's talking.
Yeah, I think I wish I could remember the person, because there's so many comments, but somebody said that bathroom thing had happened to them. And they tried to close the door, but they were overpowered, and the person unfortunately kept beating them. And in this case, it's kind of exactly what happened. Now, I understand her point. She's like, oh, I'm only 115. I can't really hurt you. But that's not true. She severed his finger with a vodka bottle. She severed, and what she said was the most outrageous thing I ever heard. I was sitting there like unbelievably baffled by the comment that came out of her mouth by saying, oh, I didn't know he was hurt. how can you not know that someone had
Yeah.
lost their finger? There's blood all over the place. And then the next minute she's showing what he did and he wrote on something or some other nonsense. And I'm
Yeah.
like, so wait a minute, let me get this straight. You said you didn't know he hurt himself, yet then you admit that he's hurt himself and he wrote on the bathroom wall or something like that, but near it. This is
Yeah.
why it's such baloney. It's
Yep.
such a,
Well,
you know, go
she
ahead.
said, she said, she said like originally that she didn't know about it. And then she said, yeah, he cut off his own finger. Well, if you didn't know about it, if you didn't see it, how do you know he did it to himself? Um, you know, just a question. Just a question. Pretty sure you don't have the answer. Or at least you do have the answer, but you're not going to give it because the answer is you did throw a bottle at him and it cut his finger off. Simple as that. And I think Jennifer Howe's testimony is going to be so good in the US trial because she's going to get up there and say that Amber had sent her text, had called her, spoken to her, and told her that. Sorry, did I say Amber? Whitney had called Jennifer Howe and said, I can't believe Johnny, Amber's done this to Johnny. She's, done this to his effing finger and all this kind of stuff. So Jennifer Howe's testimony is going to be very, very important come the US trial. And yeah, I can't wait to see that. She's so full of it. And at every aspect as well. Like there's the LAPD police officers as well who attended the first call and they basically found nothing. So Amber didn't want to talk to them. That's the first thing. She didn't want to talk to them. She didn't want to tell them anything. So, again, if you were truly scared, if you were truly worried, and even if you didn't have the courage to call the police, somebody else did on your behalf, and they're there, they're right in front of you, wouldn't you take that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm in a safe place right now. This is actually what happened. Because you're here, I feel safe to do this, and I will tell you what happened. But she didn't. She didn't do that at all. She didn't give the officers any information. She didn't say anything except that she wanted them to leave, and she didn't want to tell them anything. They walked around the penthouse 2 or 3 times, didn't see any broken bottles, didn't see any broken picture frames, didn't see any kind of evidence of a disturbance whatsoever. And they also didn't see, that's right, any marks on Amber Heard. So she's completely full of it. She's saying that police lie. She's saying that Johnny lies. She's saying that her assistant lies. She's saying that Jennifer Howe lies. We know her sister's lying, but it's in her defense at the moment. She says that every single other person, CCTV footage, is lying as well. Everybody's lying. And she's the only one who's telling the truth in all of this. And, maybe she's right. We should believe her. It's her truth. Remember that. It's her truth. So maybe we should believe it.
That's great, man. I'm so far. Let me try to catch up here. And it's funny because I have so much in my mind I want to tell you and talk to you and ask you. I do you still have time or do you have to go? I don't know.
I've probably got another like 10, 15 minutes, mate, for sure. But we can catch up. We'll catch up another time as well.
Definitely. Okay, let me try to get to the chat then, and then we'll call it. Alex says all he does on Instagram is thank his fans. All she does is promote herself. That's true. That's true.
Yep.
Annie says, what made me laugh was all the booze she got going into and leaving the court here in the UK.
Yes.
Oh, man. Megan says Johnny Depp loved Amber Heard, but she never loved him. That's true. I agree. I think we've discussed that. Macy says she's still not real. She's go-go girl Barbie. Oh, the stripper thing. Oh, now you... What? That was, to me, that was the comment that set Johnny over the edge. When she said, I know, you're going to use this against, and you're going to use the stripper thing against me. And he was like, I'm going to what? What? That was the one that I felt like, okay, that was something I never was going to bring up. But now you're done. You're done. Now the gloves are off. I think that was the one. Do you think that was the one that would have set him off?
I think so, because it really threw in his face all of the effort he'd put in up to that point. because he'd been trying and trying and trying. And look, she's insane. So by this time, she's completely forgotten that it was actually her that started it all. It was her who started it all. And he never wanted it to be in the public eye. So if it was never in the public eye, she wouldn't have to defend her reputation, so-called reputation. He wouldn't have to defend anything either. So he wouldn't have to use the stripper thing as a defense or as a weapon. He wouldn't have to do that. She's caused this whole thing. So yes, I agree. Like it probably was the straw that broke the camel's back, because up until that point, he tried so hard to be helping her and be fair and all this kind of stuff. And then she just threw it in his face and called into question his character. Now, this is not talking about, in the public eye or in court. This is the phone call between the two of them. And so it brought into question his moral compass, which had been very, very good to her up until that point. And she threw that in his face. And I think you're right. I think he just went, you know what? Screw you. I'm done with this. Like, you've just absolutely done it now. I've tried to say, let's do this, let's do that, let's try and sort it out. And now you're just being a complete and utter, you know what. So, yeah.
Oh, feel free to curse. That's fine. Feel free to curse.
That's right. Fine. I'm not a big cursor, but, every now and again when something really pisses me off, I will.
So Macy says everything she does is premeditated except talking. And I think you've pointed that out too. And I've noticed that, like, even during her disposition, when they ask the question, she's like, I don't remember. I don't recall. Can you repeat that? Or they ask a question and she goes off on some other tangent. I'm like, wait a minute. How could you, again, correct me if I'm wrong. If you were beat or something really messed up in your life happened to you, I think that of all the moments in your life, that is definitely one moment that will stand out in your brain.
Oh.
Like, hey, I never forgot when this happened to me. So her to say, oh, I don't know, it could have, maybe, I don't remember. Can you repeat the question again? Like, she's trying to think of, God, think of something. Amber, come on, Amber. And that's how, and I was watching this disposition like, man, this is horrible. I would be embarrassed, because if you know the truth, all right, it's very easy. They ask you a question, you have the answer. When you have to think about something and you're like, oh, and wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I remember now. He pulled my hair. That's right. Oh, and I think he took me down the hallway to the left. Yeah, but that's not what you said. Oh, no. Okay, it was the other way. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. And it's like, it's so evident just in that one lot of footage. And I think I did a video on this the other day with the depositions, but the absolute contrast between the two of them. You know, she's there and she gets asked, okay, Amber, is your name Amber? And she goes, well, when I was filming Aquaman 2, my hair was red. That's her response. Like, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's what she's like. She just plucks some crap out of midair and goes, yeah, that's what we'll talk about. We won't answer the question. That's what we'll talk about. Meanwhile, her lawyers are sitting there and, 45 lawyers are chiming in saying, objection, it's argumentative and it's not good for our case. So please don't say that anymore because it's not good for our case. And so she's doing that. And meanwhile, Johnny Depp's just sitting there quietly, a little bit embarrassed, gets asked the question and he's like, oh, yeah, this happened. And she threw the bottle and it actually kind of severed my finger right here. There was a first bottle that went that way and the second one hit me in the hand and it severed my finger. And then I ended up having to go to hospital and had infections and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, she's talking about unicorns and butterflies and all kinds of shiny things off in the corner. And it's like, how, and eating the chocolate she's eating, how can this be allowed? Like, somebody make her answer the question. Somebody make her answer the damn question. Oh, very frustrating.
Sorry, I muted my mic. I was laughing so hard. I was like, that was so funny because you said it perfectly. It's unbelievable. Like, I heard these answers in court. I'd be looking at the judge like what?
Yeah, it's just I know I'm exaggerating, but like that's what it feels like when you're watching this stuff or when you're listening to it. It feels like such random things that she's talking about. Crazy.
Stardust says she insults everybody. They're awful lawyers. I don't know if the lawyers are awful. I think it's more that she's an awful person, and they're just trying to like, she'll demand something. Remember, she's paying them. So when somebody's paying you, she's kind of their boss. So she's like, hey, I'm paying you. I'm paying you this amount of money. You better come up with something. So maybe these papers are so ludicrous and so insane because look who you're dealing with. You're dealing with someone who's insane. But hey, look, if she's going to pay me X amount of money, I'll be like, okay, I'll try to find any excuse in the book I can for you. And what else can I do? If that's what you want, you're paying me the money. So,
yeah, exactly. Yep. Sorry. Just really quickly. Yeah, exactly right. She's paying them, and the way that the legal documents are written, it's almost as if she's written it herself or sat there and said to them, type this. I want you to say this. I want you to say this, this, and this. I want you to talk about some Russian bots. Let's use the word, terrorism. Use that as well. Put terrorism in there. All this kind of stuff. Just put it in there, all right? And the lawyers are like, well, I don't know if it's the best idea, Amber. I'm not sure if that's the best way to approach the judge. And that's not the right language that's going to get us across the line. She's like, what'd you say to me? What'd you say to me? Huh? What? Huh? You better put it in there. And so that's what we've ended up with, all this garbage.
Don't forget subservient. You forgot that word.
Oh, yeah, subservient as well. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Macy says you do a good Amber Turd rant, Stevie.
Thank you.
Linda said it's amazing that her lawyers are feeding into this. Must be happy to suck up to. It's full of thought. It's so amazing. I was just saying this. Must be happy to suck up the money from her with all her bull crap, especially because they look like the most amateur lawyers around.
Yeah.
Then Cindy was laughing at my Amber Heard impression. Then another Cindy says, I'm going in and out. Sorry about that. A couple of people said hi. Okay, Stardust says, I don't understand how anyone is infatuated with her. She's a psycho. I think that somebody who has to defend her might not know everything that's going on. This is my defense for them. They might not know the whole story. They might think, wow, she's beautiful, and she was great in Aquaman 2, and I'm for Amber Heard, and Johnny Depp, maybe he's a druggie, because maybe whatever they heard. I don't think that those people fully heard everything, know everything. Those are the people who are more just the average person, the average casual fan. They're not the people who go dig as deep as we are. So I think that those are the people who coming to Amber Heard's aid saying, well, Johnny put it out there, so he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he knows what he's doing because she forced him to do this. People don't get that. His reputation was burnt. He's the one who lost the Pirates of the Caribbean job, because of her. It's not because of him. Come on now. I don't think people understand that.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you hit the nail on the head there with people who tend to throw in a few comments in her defense. I think most of those people, and I try to be as fair as I can. I don't, I'm not about attacking people who are defending her, but my first comment would be, have you seen everything? Have you looked into this as far as you can look into it? Even just if you don't trust me, if you don't trust other people doing videos on it, go and read the court documents. You can read the court documents yourself. You can watch the actual videos and hear the audio yourself and make up your own mind from there. But until you've done that, I don't really feel like you should be passing judgment and saying that she should be believed, because, agree. And I understand it, because people flicking through YouTube, going through a few videos, whatever. And for whatever reason, YouTube puts like your video or my video into their feed and says, you should watch this. So they click on it. It's the first thing they've seen, and they go, well, hang on, this doesn't seem right. I'm going to stand up for her here because she's a victim. And I read in the Sun or the Guardian or the Daily Mail or the Independent or any of the other shill media that she is 100% a victim. So I'm going to comment here. But really, I would just suggest to those people, and I do when they come up in the comments and things, go and have a look, go and have a deeper look. Check out, Tug's videos. Check out Incredibly Average. Check out some of these other channels who, really go into it in depth and, find out more about it. Don't just say off face value that she is a victim and that she's right.
I agree. I know you don't have much more time. Do you have to go, or you got another 5 minutes, or
Yeah,
what's
mate.
your
Yeah,
deal?
I could do another 5 minutes for sure.
Okay, so my friend Trapper Mike, he's again a gamer. He goes, Amber's been with some men. That's yeah, that's the only two we know about. We who knows who
Yeah,
else?
exactly.
You know.
Yep.
Then Mr. Wiseman, Gallet Wiseman. I'm not sure. I'm probably butchering the name again. Amber on audio tape. She is still cold. Absolutely, we have discussed that. I think we both agree to that.
Yep.
Miss Annie Cook says Johnny would I think have to. She had would have to wait for confirmation from the UK film studio. I'm not quite sure what that was
Might
to.
be might be in reference to the contract and letting the court in the US know what the dates are. As in, he'd have to wait to confirm with the film studio in the UK, which is right. He didn't know the dates. He knew loosely. He knew loosely that there was going to be filmings taking place at some point, but there's no point. There's no point going to the court and talking about it until you've got confirmation, which he only got like last week. So it's a farce to say for her legal team and her to say, oh well, he never told the court soon enough about the dates. Well, that's because he got them last week. Like it's just nonsensical, all of it.
Agree. Macy, another thing for you, Stevie. Macy says saying cuss words when he's pissed off. Oh bugger.
Yeah,
That's great.
I like the O bugger. That's great. I like that. Macy's awesome.
I agree. Macy is awesome. And thanks again, Macy, for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. Kat M says she truly needs to be changed and she needs to be locked up for her safety and the safety of others. She's capable of anything. Here's the thing. You can't really lock her up unless it's a criminal act. And for lying, maybe they can. I mean, but they would have to do the motion for that. And I don't know if Johnny wants to really go there and open up another can of worms. He's protected her a lot. I think that he's not going to go to. I don't think he's that low, even though we all feel that she should for the lying she's done. But I think that she's just hurting herself throughout this case anyway. She's just,
Yeah.
she's just burning bridges. And I think the truth is, well, it's going to be told eventually. And when it is, she's going to be the one that's going to suffer. I mean,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, as well, he didn't want to do any of this, but he's been forced to do it. But he also doesn't want to, we've seen it, he doesn't want to hurt her more than he has to. So he's doing all of this to defend himself. So, he's doing all this as a defense. Now, yes, he is suing her, but that's really, a part of that is to clear his name as well, because he doesn't want all of this stuff out there defaming him all the time. And it's really a defense. So he's being offensive here by suing, but it's really a defense because she's the one who went out and said all this stuff. And he's like, well, I can't just let all of that slide because it's not true. And if I do let it all slide, then, what does that say about me and my character now that it's all out there anyway? So he's at least giving his side now. And, I cannot wait. It's going to be a long time, but I cannot wait until we can get some actual interviews with Johnny about all of this stuff. I think it's going to be extremely interesting to, it may be a year down the track. It might be a couple of years down the track after all this is washed out and, there's no more legal ramifications and they can actually talk about it. I think there's going to be some really, really interesting interviews with Johnny about all of this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's going to be great. I mean, that's really going to blow up when that happens. Everybody's going to be very interested in what he has to say. I mean, I am right now. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Pure Sparkles 22 says, I think the infatuation stopped when he found out she crapped on the bed. I want to get to that. I did. I think we'll save that for another stream because I know you got to go soon. You got to go now. I mean, I don't want to push the envelope. I really appreciate you being here a lot.
Yeah, look, I probably should get going, but it's been really good to catch up and talk about all this. And I think it'd be great to do it again, and it'd be great to have you come over to my channel as well and catch up over there. sometime, and maybe this week if you got time, or we can work out a time. But yeah, it's been great to catch up and talk about this. Like, I feel like I've been talking, there's been awesome people in the chats and all of that, but it is really good to talk to someone, over virtual means, but actually speaking to someone about it. I think it's really good, and it's interesting too. So yeah, great fun. Thanks for having me on. Really, really appreciate you having me.
Do you want to say anything about your channel before you go? And really, I appreciate you being here, and I feel the same exact way. I wanted to talk to someone so bad and do a live stream, and I'm so happy that you really did this. I know it might be time, time-wise, we have difference in time, but I really appreciate that you did this for me. I truly am happy we got to talk.
Yeah, me too. No, it's fine. It is difficult to work out with the time zones, being down under and everything, but yeah, no, great to be here, and it's good to always catch up. I think, not all the time, but sometimes it's great to just get together, have a chat, talk these things through, and especially when we don't all have to be like-minded, and there could be a topic come up that we disagree on, but that's good too. I think just to sound things out and go back and forth a bit is really important. As far as my channel goes, I'll probably be streaming in a couple of days' time again, and I'll probably be going through the 253-page document, not every page, but I'll be going through it and finding out looking through, see what's relevant, sharing it with everybody, and doing that on a stream as well, I think. Aside from that, the only other thing is I did a video this morning on Netflix and cuties, which really disgusts me. So I've done that video. You can go check that out. Don't worry, there's no clips in it of the actual film. So yeah, that's what's happening for me. Thanks, mate.
You're welcome. I'm going to stay with the chat. I'm going to try to finish up the chat and give my opinion before I go. You're more than welcome to stay if you want to, but if you got to go, hey, I understand that. And thanks for being here.
Oh, no problem at all. Thanks for having me, like I said. And yeah, I will see you all next time, chat. Great people there in the chat. Some really awesome comments, really funny stuff as well. So great support for Rob. And yeah, have an awesome day, everybody.
Take care, Stevie. Thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate it. Okay. Oh my God, I was muted. That was great. I was muted and you couldn't even hear me because I muted myself. Stupid. Let me do it again. Cindy says, hey, it's South Florida Thrifter. Oh, that's awesome. By the way, you guys have covered so much amazing live without the blips. Yeah, I mean, I had some lagging issues, but I fixed it. I think it went really well. I want to thank Macy R. and I want to thank Cindy for the $5 super chats. That's fantastic of you guys. And I appreciate you. And you guys have been amazing in my comment section, amazing talking to you, getting everybody's opinions. I love it. I love hearing from you guys. I don't know how other YouTubers are. I'm sorry, my daughter's making a ton of noise back here. But let me, I have to stay near the router. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I'll lose the internet. So I'll go through your comments as fast as I can here because I don't even remember what I was up to. I'm so sorry. Okay, so Mr. White, we got this one. We got this one. Got this one. This was a great comment by Linda. This is going to repeat it. It says, she also started out with Johnny saying, stop trying to defend yourself. And then she ends up screaming, I'm just trying to defend myself. It's so hypocritical. It's so Amber Heard. It's so funny that someone says, for you to stop doing it, you have to stop it. But for me, it's a different story. That is so, it's like what I do is okay. I can do everything. It's okay. But when it happens to you, you can't do it. And you're a baby. If I punch you, you're a baby. If I hit you with the door, you're a baby. If I throw pots and pans at you, you're a baby. If I crap on the bed, you're a baby. And you know what? That isn't acceptable behavior. Especially have a grown human being crap on your bed. That's absolutely disgusting. That's why I call it Amber Turd. I think that's absolutely disgusting. So let me try to keep going down here. I want to get all the comments I can in here before I go. I'm sorry for my daughter. She's going, why are you, you're being too loud. I think I covered that with Macy. Okay, and he said he also knows his kids are also going to get hurt. That's a great point, Annie. That's a fantastic point. And he did, he does say that during the recordings. I forgot about that. That was brought up. He said, look, what about my kids? How do you think my kids feel going to school hearing, so your dad is a wife beater? How do you think my kids had to go through every day of school hearing that? I don't enjoy that, and they don't enjoy that. And that's a great point. That is a great comment. That is a narcissistic trait as well. Yes, it is. Yes, you're right about that. Having the last word. Yes, Linda. Yes, that is a narcissistic trait. You're correct about that. And Macy, she agrees with you on that. Also, if you say you fear for your life, as she said, she shows absolutely no fear. Yes, yes, and we discussed that, me and Stevie. If you're scared for someone, that's not how you behave. I can tell you, I've seen people in court who got beat to a pulp and they were scared. We had a woman who was shaking. Okay. She came to court on a hot day, okay, summer day, with sunglasses, with long sleeve shirts and long sleeve pants. And she came for an order of protection and she was scared. We could see she was shaking a bit. And my judge goes to her, look, I can grant you the order of protection, but in order to get this order of protection, you're going to have to take your sunglasses off. She had, I swear, see my eye closed? Her eye was closed, and I mean, it was a black and blue. I mean, it was a shot. This guy really hurt her. And then when she lifted, she said, could you please lift your sleeve? When she lifted her sleeve, man, the welt on her arm was huge. So don't think this doesn't happen in real life to other regular people. Yes, it does. I've seen it. I'm firsthand to tell you. I have witnessed it. I have seen women come into my court, beat up, bruised. It's bad. And I'm not supposed to react to it, but it's very hard to see 10 to 15 to 20 cases come in a matter of 2 hours and see repeatedly. It's almost like the person came in and it was the same guy doing it. I'm like, what is going on here? How can this be? Is this reality? Is this the kind of world we're living in? And it's just what I saw. And it didn't matter. I don't care about gender. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with gender or sex or race. I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with it. It was person at the person. And they were guys too. There were guys who came in. They weren't bruised, but you could see that they were upset and they were embarrassed to be there. They didn't want to do what they were doing, but they were embarrassed. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe I got to get an order of protection against her. It was, but this is what happens. The girl was stalking the guy. She would text him. She would follow him when he went to pick up his kids. She would wait till he gets home at night. This happens. The texts were repeated over and over and over. There was hundreds of texts. He had to said, I need an order of protection. Stop her from texting me. Stay away from my kid's school. Stay away from my home. It happens. It's out there and it's real. It's real. This is real. This is reality, folks. I'm just telling you. Pearl Sparkle says she brought up Kate Moss because Kate Moss doesn't do interviews, and she most likely won't come out to refute it. That's very interesting. Cindy said she's a traitor to all women for hijacking the hashtag Me Too to all victims of abuse, but just said it because Me Too focuses really only on women, unfortunately. Well, yeah, she's using whatever she can against them. She's using whatever platform she can, again, like Stevie said, and I agree with, to prove her innocence, to prove how right she is, to prove that she's petite and she could never ever do these kind of things to somebody, especially a guy like Johnny Depp. She could never. He's too big for her. I think that you meant Johnny. Basie says, I love that Jerry said. I think you meant that Johnny said Amber knows. Exactly. She's she's a stripper. I think you mean stripper. I think that's what you're talking about. I think that's what you're talking about. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't know single thing about the case. What did Macy say? Also, no, but they called the cops again 2 hours later after she made a mess to see. Well, listen, they're just smart. They're not stupid. I'm sure that they realize that, yeah, we were already at the house. And, she's trying to mess it up. There are things called fingerprints. And if they did the right thing, they would See, okay, these have fingerprints. Whose fingerprints are on these? You know, I'm sure they could figure these kind of things out. I'm sure of it. And he says, I think she got a taste of what people think of her over here. Yeah, and she doesn't like it. She called us bots. She called us fake Twitter accounts, you know, that everything's fake and phony. She's real, but we're all fake. Everybody who signed the petition is fake and phony. None of us are real. You know, none of us. We're not real human beings. Why would we believe Johnny Depp? That was her whole thing. Why would we believe Johnny? Right? That's Joni Favorite says Amber Turd should be put in jail for all her lies. That's true. They could do that. She's a big joke. She paid over 50 grand to make her face look good. But her looks will fade and she has nothing else going for her. Very good point. And I feel horrible for her girlfriend. But I think her name is Bianca Butts. That's a weird last name, but I hope she's okay because Amber has a history of this domestic violence. Johnny's not the only one, by the way. I know I haven't covered that, but I found that out reading. I was like, oh crap, I didn't know that. Let's see. Cindy says the comment that was the last straw on their last chance phone call is when she accused him of leaking her stripper. Yes, absolutely. When she accused her leaking the stripper. And he didn't do that. And he wasn't going to use that against her. And she stuck it to herself at that point. At that point, it was Johnny he hit. You know, a human being could take so many things, being pushed and shoved and punched and this and that. Listen, my breaking point would have been losing my finger. I would have been like, I'm out. And you're punching me. Come on. It's a little too much. It's getting violent here. There's got to be a time. You could love somebody, but there's got to be a time you're like, listen, seriously, what are you going to kill me? I can't stay for this. Ben said he had to run. Then he stopped by. Let's see. We covered this one. Yeah, the stripper. That's a great comment. Cola Frost, her detailed accounts read worse than Daniel Steele novel, and her acting is worse. And you'd think as an actress, okay, she's an actress, that she would be much, much better, much smoother, and had planned this out way better than what she has. Her big thing was her overconfidence, thinking that I have him so hooked. Johnny is so hooked on my looks, so hooked on me, that there is no way he's going to court. There is no way he's going to blow up my spot because he loves me too much. That was her overconfidence. And that's what got her where she is right now. And Macy says, yep, the judge even got pissed. And his lawyer said, yeah, she ain't going to answer. Well, we'll move on. I'm not Ken. Maybe I'm missing something here. I might be missing something here. Kat says she truly needs to be charged. She needs to be locked up for her safety and the safety of others. Yes, we've gone over that. Thanks, Macy. Great virtually seeing you both here. Hey, thank you. I really appreciate that. Linda says, bravo, Johnny, for you and all the other wrongly accused victims. I agree. Macy says, yeah, he isn't even taking money from the son. He just wants his name back. Yeah, listen, think about it. Think about how many roles he might have lost. This is Johnny Depp here. This is Johnny Depp. Okay. And I'm sure the Pirates of the Caribbean was his franchise. I'm sure Disney would take him back. He wins this. I am positive that if he wins this, Disney's going to be like, okay, you want 50 million? You want 60? Maybe we'll give you 60 million for the next movie. What do you think? I'm sure of it. Oh, this was the super chat from Cindy, which I really appreciate. Where did it go? Okay, everybody's saying goodbye. Some people say, Stevie said, it's Stevie. He said, bye, everyone. Have an awesome day. You too, man. Yeah, I lost my sound because I'm muting myself like a retard. Sorry about that. But how can we help them? Trapper Mike. Well, if you mean how can you help Johnny Depp, it's simple. Sign that petition, man. Let's try to get Amber Heard, out of Aquaman too. Let's try to make it known. Or simply even better, boycott the dang movie. If they're going to go through with it and put her in it, boycott the movie. Don't go. Let our wallets and their pocketbook, their pocketbooks, their money, their bags of money, whatever you want to call it, their wallets, let them feel it. Let them know we were serious. Don't go. Don't spend your money. I know there are people who will. I understand. The people who will want to see the movie. I thought Aquaman was awesome, but I will wait for it to come out. I'm not going to go see it in the theater. As much as I would love to, as it would eat me. But to know she's there, I'm going to keep to my word. I'm not going to go. I'm just not. Where is it? All right, Annie had to go. She says, right, I'm off, guys. Good night. It was good night. Great seeing you. Macy says, great discussion. Thanks. See you next time. Okay, we're almost at the end, actually. Wow, I'm almost at the end. I can't believe this. Marlene says, do you think Elon is behind the media and also the movie to help Amber out? It is just doesn't make sense that the truth that came out about her, nothing has happened to her. I think, listen, this guy's got money. And they dated afterwards, okay? So after the divorce, they dated during the marriage, they dated after the marriage, even though Elon Musk says that's not true. We only dated after. That's bull, because I proved it. And I think I proved it quite well, honestly, that he was there and he had permission. And the concierge as a witness in a written witness statement said that he was there. He had permission from Miss Heard, and he was up in the pub. And you saw the video. You saw the video. Do I think he has something to do? I'm sure he's backing her up all the way. I'm sure financially he's got her back. He's not going to let that be known. But I am sure that he has a lot to do with this. I'm sure he's got her back and he's pushed her with the movie. I'm sure of it. My buddy Justin Proper, if you haven't seen him, he's got a great channel. He does every Thursday. He does This Week in Bullshit about unbelievable stories that you might not believe are going on out there. I'm sorry, I got a lot of hair on my face from the dog. So he's if you haven't checked out his channel, and if you like video games, my friend Connor Mike is here. Connor is here. And I caught up to the chat. I've caught up to the chat. I didn't think I could do it, but I did it. So I just want to thank, I'm going to end my stream. I just want to thank everybody here. I got more videos coming out with Amber Heard. I just like to thank, I'm going to go back up, Cindy again for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. And I have to go way up here. I hope I don't got it, but I'm just going to plus her name even though she left. I'm just going to thank Macy R. Thank you very much for the super chat. You guys have been great. You guys have been fantastic. I can't thank you enough for supporting me. This is how I do live streams. I just want you all to know you're very important. I love to hear from you guys. It's great to hear from you guys. Yeah, Connor, I'm going to get out of here in a minute. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support. Keep backing Johnny. We got to get justice for this guy. If you haven't signed the petition, I beg you, please sign that petition. Because this woman doesn't deserve Aquaman 2. She doesn't. And if she does get in, and you're really, really behind Johnny Depp, even if you want to see Aquaman 2, do what I'm going to do. Don't go. Don't give them your money. Teach them a lesson. Let it known that we signed this petition. You completely ignored us, and I'm not seeing your movie. Let them feel it. Let them feel it. I mean, I can't make everybody, do that, but I can only hope that you're behind me. When am I doing a game stream? Maybe tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. One of these nights I'm definitely going to do it. I have to do it because I won't have the PlayStation, if you want to know that. Connor says we got to stream sometime. Absolutely. I'm down for streaming with people. Streaming. Megan says, good night, Rob. Have a good night. Okay, I'm going to bounce. Everybody, I think I've caught up to all the chat. And listen, if you ever have anything, questions, if you ever want to comment, the live stream is a great time to do it. I'll always try to get to your comments no matter what. And Rosie also has a channel if you want to check her out. She says Justin Proper. Anytime you want, if there's a video, if you want me to cover something, please feel free. I'm going to cover the old and the new. Just telling you, the old and the new. All right. I'm out. I've got to go. So anyway, take care. I'm starving. Yeah, we could do a StreamYard again. Absolutely. Yeah, sometime. I want to get a bunch of people. I want to start doing StreamYards a little bit more often. So everybody be well, be safe. Thank you for joining. Thank you for support. I love you guys. Back Johnny up. Justice for Depp. Sign that petition. And I got some Star Wars and I have some Johnny Depp videos coming out to appease you all and live streaming. So take care. Thank you, Stevie J, so much. Check out his channel if you haven't. Check out Justin Proper, Trapper Mike, a whole bunch of people. Rosie Wren, my friend Connor. Check them all out. And with that being said, guys, be safe, be well, And let's not forget, let's give Johnny his due. This woman's a piece of garbage. Take care, everyone. I'm out of here.